There you. Hello, beautiful, and welcome to another empowering episode of Emerging at Midlife podcast. We are glad that you are here. I want you to take a breath before we begin. So take a moment to inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. Because what we are going to talk about today, it matters, and I want you to be fully present for it. So today's episode called Reclaim Your Heart-Centered Warrior. In the shadow we are walking through to get there, feeling unworthy. Not the kind of unworthiness that just self-doubt on a hard day. It is a deep one that whisper, you're too much, you're not enough. Who do you think you are? Sounds familiar? Yes, for me as well. What about you, Jen?
Yes, definitely very difficult.
Jean.
And I think it's something that we all will struggle with, whether we are doing well in our current endeavors or we're struggling in our current endeavors. There's always, I think, that, like you said, a little bit of a shadow or critic voice or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes we call it the saboteur, that part of us that just needs to judge and be skeptical or be doubtful or tell us stories about ourselves that aren't true. Um, and in some sense, to see that part of us not just as a shadow, but as if we can bring it into balance and harmony, it can be our protector because it is good to be cautious sometimes or to be self-evaluating, if you will. It's when it gets out of when it's distorted that we
Yes,
get into trouble,
yes.
which is
So,
can be often.
so let's get there together. Let's explore and find out what's actually waiting for us in the end of this episode. I'm Kohava Howard, a young and transformational coach, healer, and a spiritual guide. I guide purpose driven midlife women through mindset shift, strength based coaching, so they can step into their next chapter fully aligned with themselves to light up the world.
Hi, I'm Jean Skeels. I am a longtime Kripalu yoga teacher, spiritual seeker, life coach, end of life doula, and I am the author of Before You Go, a Death Doula's Guide to Living Your Best Life.
All right, let's start by naming it because unworthiness doesn't usually show up. It sneaks in through the back door. It shows up as an apology you give before you even said anything wrong. It shows up as the dream you keep pushing to someday. It shows up in the way you shrink in a room full of people, or in the way you overperform, overgive, overexplain, trying to earn your right to be here. Unworthiness is sneaky. It is learned to disguise itself as humility, as cautious, as being realistic. But there is the awareness. Unworthiness is not the truth about you. It is a story that was written by someone else and handed to you before you were old enough to question it. Maybe it was a parent, who was too wounded to celebrate who you are. Maybe it was the school system. Maybe it was a relationship that slowly taught you to make yourself small. Maybe it was a society that told you based on your body, or based on your background, that you didn't quite measure up. Whatever the source is, that story was given to you, which means it was never was yours to keep. I want you to sit with this for a moment. The belief that you are not enough, that you do not deserve love, success, peace, joy, rest, fullness. That belief did not come from your true soul. It came from fear, from someone else's fear, based and passed down to you. And today, we are going to try it one last time and then lovingly, firmly let it go. So now, when I say warrior, I want you to be clear of what I mean by that, because we have been sold of distorted version of the word. The warrior have been taught to admire in our culture is often the one who feels nothing, who pushes through pain, who dominant, who conquers, who never asks for help, who confuse hardness with strength. That is not the warrior I'm talking about today. The heart-centered warrior is something different entirely. The heart-centered warrior is one who has been to the depth, who has felt unworthiness, the grief, the shame, the guilt, and chose to come back again. Not because the pain is disappeared, but because they decide their life matter more than the story. The heart-centered warrior is strong not because they suppress their feelings, but because they have learned to move through them. They're empowered not because they have no fear, but because they are no longer let fear make their decision and lead their life. And this is the most important part. The heart-centered warrior does not fight from a place of desperation. They act from a place of contentment, integrated, and truth. So contentment is not giving up and not pretending everything is fine. Contentment is the radical decision to know your own worth before the world confirm it. It is the inner stillness and the self-trust that says, I don't need to prove myself to keep up space. I am already enough. And from that knowing, I will build something beautiful. That is the warrior. That is what are we reclaiming today. Jean, you are the warrior. What do you have to add to this?
Well, given my long, long time studying, practicing, and teaching Kripalu yoga, it definitely springs directly to the center of my awareness. A few things from my Kripalu lineage tradition. Swami Kripalu, who was true yogi monk from India and came over here, had a lot of things to say about this. So I'll just give you a few snippets. The first one is that he's famously said that the highest spiritual practice is self-observation without judgment. The highest spiritual practice.
Mhm.
And it's important to know that that sits alongside some other yogic practices. So you mentioned contentment, and some of the most basic fundamental yoga practices include tapas, which means discipline or fire. And that sits right next to another practice called santosha, which means contentment. And both of those ultimately are held in the same house as a practice called surrender to God.
Mhm.
And some people listening might not love the word God, or maybe you have your own ideas about what that means, and that's all fine. But the wisdom of all of that lends itself very much to what we're talking about. And it is not an easy practice to be both disciplined and fiery and also content and be surrendering. There's faith mixed in there. And lastly, there is a line from a prayer that Swami Kripalu, well, it was actually channeled, but that's a whole nother story. But this line talks about what we should do when we're confronted by hardship, trouble, conflict. And it simply says, do not fight the dark, just turn on the light. And so instead of struggling or feeling that we have to go into a metaphorical or literal battle, that we don't have to fight what we perceive as dark within ourselves or outside of ourselves, that it's wiser and more productive to just turn on some light. That's not an easy thing to do. It sounds like, oh, that's beautiful and lovely. Put it into practice and you will find it extremely challenging, but it is something that we can aspire to and do our very best to try to live that way. But highest spiritual practice, self-observation without judgment.
Beautiful. Turn on the light, the inner light, ignite it. Beautiful. So one of the unworthiness trap is what I called conditional worthiness. The quiet belief that I will be worthy when I lose the weight. I will be worthy when I get promotion. I will be worthy when someone loves me. I will be worthy when I fix everything that is broken within me. But even when we hit the goal, that feeling of worthiness never shows up because conditional worthiness is a lie. It keeps us stuck in the not yet, always striving, but never arriving. Here's what takes the real courage to accept. Worthiness isn't earned, it's recognized. So you don't earn the right to exist. You feel peace to belong. It is already yours. You were born worthy, even a version of you, and every version of you always has been enough. The healing, the growth, the striving, that's not how we become worthy. It happened naturally once we already know it from within us. So, how we reclaim the warrior, how we reclaim your warrior, how do we do that? From knowing to be it. So, I want to offer you a few practices. They are not a quick fix. They are real embodied way to begin to awaken the heart-centered warrior that is already lived within you. So, first, name the voice. Don't become it. The voice of unworthiness will come. It will tell you that you are not ready, not good enough, not deserving. But when it does come along, instead of fighting it or believing it, simply name it. There is that voice again. Notice it. Be real. Sit with it. Be present. But not the truth of it. Just hold that space for yourself. And you are not that voice. That's the awareness. You are the one who hears it. You have a choice not to hear it. So sit with it. Second, return to the body. Unworthiness lives largely in our mind, in our stories. It's loop around in comparison. The body is often where the warrior awaits. When you feel yourself spiral into negative thoughts, come back to sensation. Feel your feet grounded on the ground. Put your hands on your heart. Take a slow, deep breath. The body is always in the present. Unworthiness live in the past and future. Ground yourself in what's real right now. The third, act from contentment, not approval seeking. So before you make a decision, especially a big one, ask yourself, am I doing this because it's aligned with who I am? Or I'm doing it to earn someone else's approval? This is not easy. It takes practice, but slowly you begin to feel the difference. Once, once you feel like expansion, the other feels like contraction. So let expansion be your guide. Number 4, celebrate what you have already overcome. The heart-centered warrior honors their own journey. They take time regularly to celebrate, to go back home inside of who we are. So remind yourself, I am the kind of a person who keeps going despite of the challenges. That is not arrogance. That is the truth from within. Number 5, be fiercely tender with yourself. A warrior energy without heart becomes harsh. So speak to yourself with compassion, the same way you offer that to someone else. Tenderness toward yourself is not a weakness. It is a deepest form of warrior practice there is. I want you to paint a picture of you, not a perfect person, but of a whole one. Imagine yourself grounded, rooted. You walk into the room not feeling obligated, not needing approval, not needing to prove anything. You carry within you a quiet knowing. I belong here, not because I earned it, but because I exist. You're strong, not because you've never been hurt, but because you choose to integrate the hurt instead of being ruled by it. You let hard things shape you without letting them define you. You are empowered and no longer await for external circumstances to feel a permission to live fully. So, Jean, I know you have a meditation to lead us through.
Yes, so
It's
this
all yours.
meditation that we are about to do is part of a larger meditation practice that is called Metta, Metta. So anyone after this can go look it up and find out what the whole practice is. It is also called loving kindness practice. And we will do today the first and the last pieces of this larger practice. So I'll just follow along with me. If you need to get a cushion or readjust yourself, you can pause this and come back as soon as you're ready. You can be seated. You just spoke about feeling your feet on the ground, or if you're lying down in some way, or however you are, feel that ground underneath you. We'll be taking exactly what you described, one hand onto your heart. If you don't have a dog in front of you, you can see this. One hand on your heart and the other hand on top. So you're really holding yourself lovingly in your own heart space here. And now you can soften or close your eyes and just listen to the metta invocation that I will be offering 3 times. To begin, find your breath. Feel that heart connection and feel your whole being present as you conjure again or hold again in your heart that image, that painting of your best true self that is light and beautiful, powerful and whole. And as you hold yourself there, simply breathe and receive these words. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I have ease of well-being. May I be free. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I have ease of well-being. May I be free. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I have ease of well-being. May I be free. Continue to breathe and feel that invocation, that prayer, a light shining within you, and know that you have and can receive those things right now. Happiness and peace, well-being and freedom are here in you. Breathe it. And now lower your hands down to your lap with your palms facing up. And begin to send this energy, this well wish out from you. See it like ripples of a stone that you've dropped into water. See those waves reaching out to others. See it reaching all of the people you love, who you care about, your friends, your family, your communities. See it also washing over and reaching those who you have difficulty or conflict with, people you don't understand. Let them receive it too. See it continue to ripple out until everyone, everywhere, all over this planet, all beings receive this spark, this light, this wish. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings have ease. And may all beings be free. Breathe that in, receive it once again in yourself. So return to yourself. Take your hands into a prayer position. So feel that energy being sealed between the palms of your hands, and then plant your thumbs right in at your heart center once again. Take another breath or two. And then you can begin to return to your room, your space, this moment, grounded and open, heartful, and you can open your eyes.
One of my favorite metta. Thank you. Bliss, bliss, and bliss. Thank you. Oh, you are content, which is the most radical of all, because contentment says, I am enough right now in this body, with this life, in this moment. And from that fullness, not from lack, not from fear, not from the need to prove anything, I will create, I will love, I will act, and I will rise. That is the heart-centered warrior. She is already inside of you. So today, this episode, this moment is an invitation to let it come forward. So before I let you go, I want you to hear this, something to carry with you. A question, not to answer out loud, but just to hold. If I already know before any doubt that I was worthy, what will I do differently today? Because the warrior does not wait for permission to begin. They just begin. And the permission reveals itself in the doing. So thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this inner work, the choice to heal, to reclaim yourself does not just change life. It changes the life of everyone around you, like Jean say, a ripple effect. So it's a ripple outward in a ways that you might never fully see, but you feel it from within. So keep going, be fierce, be tender, be whole. Take a good care of yourself, and we will see you next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.